Hello, everyone. I'm Nadia Taiga, Executive Director and Curatorial Director of Snark.art and OG.Art. We have been at this space exploring blockchain technology as a new medium since 2018. And 2 years ago, we developed the first dynamic NFT collection that probably some of you might know, OG Crystals. Then we did Life in Our Minds with Random International, Daniel Krivoruchko, in partnership with Pace Verso. And today we are here at NFT Paris to present probably the most challenging and most complicated project in the space so far. The name of the project is Heterosis, and I'm happy to present British artist that we have collaborated with for some years already, Matt Collishaw. That is one of the artists behind the most complicated project of dynamic NFTs in the space and on our platform OG.Art that is fully dedicated to dynamic NFTs. When I say dynamic NFTs, that means that your NFT is keep transforming and evolving after the sale event. And you as a collector become a true co-creator of the final work of art in collaboration, and it depends on the data of your crypto wallets or external or internal data, and as well on your actions. And I will let Matt to introduce the project in more details and how it started and where it brought us so far. Matt, please.
Hi, everybody. I'm Matt Collishaw. Thank you for sticking around and not sneaking off to the rave, which is just starting over there. I'll try and make myself clear over the top of it. So I'm a visual artist. Generally, I create artworks, sculptures, installations, photographs, paintings. And I exhibit them in galleries or institutions and museums. And I try to find the best format for the idea that I've got. So initially, I'll get an idea and I'll think, okay, maybe this is going to work better as a painting, or it's something that could work as an animatronic sculpture, or it's a project that could work very well in virtual reality. So I try to find the medium that best suits the idea that I'm trying to convey. And I'm also aware of other processes that are going on, and I try to find other mediums, other ways of delivering ideas. And obviously this space of NFTs and blockchains is something that's been building for quite a while, and I thought I've got to do something in this new area. But if I do something, it should be something that really exploits all of the apparatus and the facility that this new medium gives us to experiment in. So the project should be innovative in some way. And it seems to me that like a lot of the NFTs that we're seeing, you could kind of see them in a gallery in a slightly different format, a little JPEG which you could print and frame on the wall, or an animation which could be on a digital screen. It wasn't really using all of the mechanics that could be employed in making an NFT collection and putting it on blockchain. So I was looking for something that was dynamic, some way that the images or the animations that I was creating could evolve in some way. And at the same time, this was about like early 2021 when the big spike in prices happened. A lot of people started talking about the tulip mania craze and saying it was like a similar speculative bubble that was happening. So naturally, I started reading a lot about tulip mania, and I read several books. And there's some very interesting parallels, obviously, but there are also quite a few differences which were quite pertinent. So I started like thinking about what I could choose as my subject matter, and I was trying to get my head around what NFTs were. And from my understanding, it seemed to be that they were guarantee of an ownership of an ephemeral asset. And all the reading about tulip mania made me think, okay, well, this is kind of quite a similar thing. You know, you're not buying a chair or a table or a car or a house. You're buying something that only flowers for a couple of weeks a year. The rest of the time, it's either in the ground or in a dark drawer. You don't really know how the flower is going to actually bloom when it comes from the ground the following season. It's like an ephemeral asset, and people were trying to figure out ways of guaranteeing how these transactions should work. And it appears, from my reading anyway, that this spike that happened in 1637 not a lot of damage was really done to people in the pocket. Everybody that was involved in this very small community, they were quite wealthy. They were merchants or they were very successful craftsmen, artisans. They had the money to waste. So when the price dropped in early 1637, a lot of people lost a lot of money, but it was a very small amount of people, and generally they had a lot of disposable wealth anyway. So that wasn't like a big problem. People weren't topping themselves by jumping in the canals because they'd lost so much money. But one of the major problems was that this tiny little community, this network in Holland, they all kind of communicated each other through things like tulip collecting, also oil painting and collecting shells and snake skins. So there's this aesthetic environment which cultivated the relationship between this little community. And in 1637, when the crash happened, a lot of people understandably didn't want to pay the price for the tulip that they'd agreed a couple of months before. And because there was this time lag between when they'd agreed the transaction and when the flowers actually came out of the earth, it meant that they kind of wriggle out of their payment. They weren't really kind of so keen on paying a couple of months down the line. So it transpired that there were a lot of unhappy people, there were a lot of lawsuits, a lot of activity in the courts, and a lot of people like fell out over it. So there's this huge breakdown of trust between this community. The network didn't hold, and this was very damaging. So one of the great advantages of dealing with ephemeral assets in the 21st century as we have this guarantee of ownership on the blockchain. All this reading about tulip mania and tulip breeding, maybe start thinking, okay, so maybe we could do something with flowers. We get one flower, and then you can hybrid that flower with another flower that a collector has in their wallets. And so it's a form of genetic engineering, something that started happening like hundreds, thousands of years ago, possibly when, unlike in the natural world, when natural selection determines how the organic universe evolves, people are starting to make decisions about, okay, so we're going to get that plant and breed it with that plant, and they're controlling the way that the whole evolution of a particular line works. And for me, I'm not an artist that particularly likes collaborating. I like to control every aspect of the project because I've got ideas about how it should all function and how it should work. But in this instance, it seemed that I could engage a community. I can work with people. I can establish the parameters, and then within those laws that we've established, we can have people making a contribution by choosing to take a flower that they bought and then hybrid that flower with another flower and adopt certain characteristics such as the number of petals, the length of the petals, the pointiness, the curliness, the shaders, the patterns, everything that's involved in there they can potentially inherit. And there's another interesting thing that I read about in Tulip Mania, which was about the beauty that people ascribe to certain flowers. Like they'd say that, yeah, the Augustus Sempra, that is the most beautiful tulip there is. We've all got to have one of those. So they would produce multiple offsets of this tulip. And so there'd be so many bulbs around, and suddenly this tulip was everywhere, and everybody got a bit tired of it. And so they decided that this little flower over here was the more desirable because it was the more rare. So the beauty of the flower was dictated by its rarity, and its value was then dependent on its rarity. So these kind of ideas, this kind of when the market interferes with what is determined beautiful, is something that's really quite an interesting tool for an artist to be playing with. So then I started developing this idea of having flowers that you can hybrid, and at that point I was kind of introduced to Nadia, who's doing this collection with Michael Dew, who's an old friend of mine, and they were creating these dynamic NFT collections. So that's when we started talking about developing this project.
Yes, and this project has been developed for a year. We really put a lot of effort to develop it, not only from aesthetic perfection, because we have been challenged by Matt Collishaw to create a flower as much realistic as it's possible, but any of these flowers, none of these flowers actually real, and they could exist in the world, but they are based on a real flowers, right? And in real world, you can't hybrid lily and orchid, but in our environment, you could. And actually, you could entertain with those flowers, creating something rare, just that you could create, touching this project. And to emphasize the collector's effort, we also created this collaborative aspect. If collector has something in his wallet that is related to collaborative collections like Meebits or Bored Apes or Outland, CryptoKitties, because we were very much inspired by CryptoKitties mechanics of hybridization. And so this, one of those collections can reflect on the patterns of your flower, and you can have something very beautiful. Like this orchid is a flower for Outland collectors, and this beautiful flower is for CryptoKitties, and let me put this. And so this project is really bring together not only idea of how flowers will grow and how you entertain with flowers, interact with flowers, but as well as you could create something in collaboration between each other, something unique, and go to the ecosystem. And for this we created a special interactive space that Matt could please Matt tell about this idea of the metaverse. Not metaversal.
It's still in development, by the way, but yeah. I've been working with Antoine, who was at the back, with a company called El Gabal, who are based here in Paris, and he's creating these immersive, social, persistent environments. So you can adopt an avatar, and you can go, basically you just click a link on your browser, you don't need to download an app, and you can just jump straight in there, adopt an avatar, go in, meet other people that are wandering around, talk to them, etc. And I was doing that on another project before we started working on this one, so we started developing some kind of an idea of some centralized space. So all of the flowers in the collection are going to be visible in their latest iteration inside this space. And we decided that what we wanted to do was to create Room 32 from London's National Gallery as if it was abandoned, neglected and overgrown. So that we could have this contrast between what's considered like the pinnacle of European art from like 500-600 years ago. You've got all Renaissance and Baroque masterpieces in there. So we have this like prehistoric form of beauty in the shape of these organic flowers contrasted with this kind of cream of European art history, and that oil on canvas is contrasted with this new burgeoning digital media, which is the flowers, which are all basically only really accessible online. So we've got those different layers going on inside this environment here. You can walk through the space, navigate the space, and like find a flower that you might find particularly attractive, and then click on that flower and establish its properties, or click through and find its current value in the marketplace. So one of the motivations for doing it is that as I said, I want to make something in this space that really utilizes tools that I don't have in any other medium. And it seems to me a little bit pointless to take something that's just like a static JPEG image and use that when you could just hang it up in a gallery anyway.
Yes, and this collection is, for now, we have a booth here at NFT Paris, just next to Tom Sachs Rocket Factory, and you can stay there. We have a special offer for collectors and visitors of NFT Paris. There is a release date of the collection March 8, but today you can get the special offer that is ending today, or pre-purchase one flower or two, a set of 8. And on the March 8, the game will start. So with our dynamic NFTs, the all interactive and interesting part happening when collectors join the space and start to work. We make you work on the final work of art, on the final body of work, and as well as you can get today some special flowers and see what you will get. You can get something very rare, and then if you are not satisfied with the rarity of your flower, you could always see what other collectors have and sort of like adopt the DNA of those flowers for your flower, creating something new. So the starting price is 0.099 ETH. And the amount of collection, the number of collection is 2,500 NFTs. We set up this price because you guys all know that the market is now how the market functions. We want more collectors participate this game and this art game. So please come over to our booth, or another option, you could sign up for the waitlist and join waitlist. But if you are very much interested what Matt has developed with our help and Elga Ball help, please stop by at our booth right now because we have a special activity. Matt is going to sign a limited edition of the lenticular prints, the limited edition of 300, right, Matt?
Right.
Yes, and so you can get something special, intangible in your hands before you will get something as NFT. So thank you so much, and we are very much looking forward to enlarge our collectors and having you breed flowers, visit our interactive greenhouse, and be the next generation of collectors. Thank you so much.
Thank you.